Daisy's dilemma, revealing the truth about her baby's father. Daisy Midgley has been carrying the weight of a life-changing secret, but the pressure is finally becoming too much to bear. After hiding her DNA test results, Daisy contemplates fleeing her problems when she's offered an au pair job in Paris. However, after a heartfelt conversation with Jenny, Daisy decides to come clean about the paternity of her baby. She reveals the truth to both Daniel Osborne and Kit Green, leaving them to process the shocking news. The emotional toll of the situation becomes evident when Daisy attends her 12-week scan. Overwhelmed by recent events, she rushes out of the appointment, leaving Daniel and Kit concerned for her well-being. As the truth settles in, the dynamics between Daisy, Daniel, and Kit are set to shift dramatically. Cassie's web of deception, Ken's life in danger. Cassie Plover's manipulative behavior reaches new heights as she continues to exploit Ken Barlow. After receiving a text about her new iPad, Cassie hides the message from Steve McDonald, further deepening her web of lies. She then takes advantage of Ken's trust by ordering 2 designer juicers using his bank details, raising suspicions about her true intentions. Steve, unaware of Cassie's deceit, invites her to lunch at the bistro, thrilled by the progress in their relationship. However, Ken begins to grow wary of Cassie's actions. In a clever move, Ken pretends to fall asleep, only to catch Cassie sneaking out. Later, Ken collapses in pain at number 1, leaving his fate uncertain. As Ken recovers in the hospital, Cassie pays him a visit, but has her scam finally been uncovered? Dylan's day in court, a harsh reality. Dylan Wilson faces a pivotal moment as his day in court arrives. Betsy overhears Dylan confessing his fears to Scene Telly about being sent to a secure training center, STC. She tries to lift his spirits, urging him to stay positive, but Dylan remains convinced that he'll be sentenced. In a moment of vulnerability, Dylan and Betsy share a kiss, adding another layer of complexity to his emotional state. In court, Dylan becomes visibly emotional and admits that he only intended to scare Mason's brothers with the knife. However, the judge is unsympathetic, warning Dylan that he could face a more serious charge of making threats with a weapon. Scene and Dylan are horrified by the judge's stern response, and Adam Barlow warns Dylan that a 2-year sentence in the STC is a real possibility. When the judge delivers Dylan's sentence, it leaves everyone reeling. Life in the STC, Dylan's struggles continue. After being sentenced, Dylan finds himself in the STC, where he struggles to adjust to his new reality. Daniel checks in on him, but their interaction doesn't go unnoticed. Ruddy, one of the other inmates, quizzes Dylan about his relationship with Daniel and warns him to keep their connection a secret. Dylan faces abuse from other inmates, but Brody steps in, telling them to back off and suggesting that Dylan stick with him for protection. As Dylan navigates this dangerous environment, his future remains uncertain. Kevin struggles. Feeling useless and overlooked, Kevin Webster's recovery from his operation takes a toll on his mental health. When Ronnie Bailey offers to take Alfie to the Red Wreck, Kevin wishes he could join them, but Abby reminds him that he needs to rest. Kevin's mood darkens further when Ronnie fixes a kitchen cupboard for Abby, making Kevin feel useless and overlooked. After receiving more bad news, Kevin's frustration boils over. Abby offers to cancel her therapy session to spend the afternoon with him, but Kevin refuses. When Tim Metcalf tries to offer support, Kevin lashes out, highlighting the depth of his struggles. Meanwhile, Abby confides in Ronnie about her therapy sessions, but when Kevin walks in and sees them laughing together, he quickly exits, feeling even more isolated. David's dangerous double life. David Platt continues to lead a double life, lying to Shona about his home visit haircuts being a way to make extra money. In reality, David is involved in criminal activities with Andy. After Shona leaves, David calls Andy, who pays him for his latest job. David admits that he's willing to take on as many jobs as possible, unaware that Andy has been watching the exchange with a young accomplice. As David delves deeper into this dangerous world, the risk of exposure grows. Todd's surprising encounter. Todd Grimshaw spends the night with a man he met at a recent singles event. only to be surprised when he sees Julie Carp at the hotel reception. Later in the week, Eileen Grimshaw persuades Julie to join her for lunch. Todd and George Shuttleworth, having discovered the real reason behind Julie's return, urge her to tell Eileen the truth. As secrets unravel, Todd finds himself caught in the middle of yet another complicated situation. Coronation Street spoilers follow. Next week on Coronation Street, Daisy reveals the father of her baby, while Cassie's ongoing manipulation of Ken places him in danger. Meanwhile, Dylan faces an uncertain future as his day in court arrives. Here's a look at 13 big moments coming up. You can also check out our collection of 29 spoiler pictures from the episodes. Daisy is under pressure as she continues to hide her DNA test results and considers escaping from her problems when she's offered an au pair job in Paris. After discussing her plans with Jenny, Daisy decides to reveal the truth about her baby's paternity to Daniel and Kit. With the truth finally out in the open, Daniel and Kit process the news. Meanwhile, Daisy attends her 12-week scan, but it's clear recent events are taking their toll. The situation becomes too much for Daisy, and she rushes out of the appointment. Cassie receives a text informing her that her new iPad is on the way, but quickly hides the message from Steve. Later, Cassie learns that Fix is going into town to go shopping and asks her to pick up some more antihistamines. Cassie continues scamming Ken by ordering 2 new designer juicers using his bank details. Meanwhile, Steve invites Cassie for lunch at the bistro, and Cassie is thrilled that their relationship is progressing. However, it looks like Cassie's luck may be beginning to run out as Ken grows suspicious about her behavior. When Ken pretends that he's fallen asleep, Cassie quickly nips out, and Ken springs to life. At the bistro, Steve waits for Cassie and confides to Amy that he's developed feelings for her. Back at number 1, Ken reaches out for the phone but collapses in pain. As Ken recovers in hospital, Cassie pays him a visit. Has Cassie's scam been uncovered? Betsy overhears Dylan confessing his fears to Sean about getting sent to the STC, and she tries to lift his spirits by urging him to stay positive. Dylan remains convinced that he'll get sent down, and Betsy promises to visit if that's the case. When she leans in for a kiss, Dylan kisses her back. Dylan becomes emotional in court and admits that he only meant to scare Mason's brothers with the knife. The judge is unsympathetic and tells Dylan that he should be facing the more serious charge of making threats with a knife. Sean and Dylan are horrified by the turn of events, and Adam warns Dylan that a 2-year sentence in the STC isn't out of the question. Later, the judge delivers Dylan's sentence. In the STC, Daniel checks in on Dylan to see how he's coping, but their exchange is noticed by one of the other inmates, Brody. Brody quizzes Dylan on his relationship with Daniel and warns him to keep the connection secret. After receiving abuse from some of the other inmates, Dylan is rescued by Brody, who tells him to back off and suggests Dylan stick with him. Ronnie offers to take Alfie to the Red Wreck. When Kevin wishes he could go too, Abby reminds him that he needs to rest after his operation. Kevin's mood darkens further when Ronnie fixes a kitchen cupboard for Abby, making Kevin feel useless. After Kevin receives more bad news, Abby offers to cancel her therapy session so she can spend the afternoon with him, but Kevin refuses. When Tim offers his support, Kevin lashes out. Meanwhile, Abby confides to Ronnie about her therapy sessions, but when Kevin walks in and sees them laughing, he quickly exits. David lies to Shona that he's decided to do some home visit haircuts to make extra money, but as soon as Shona leaves, David calls Andy. Later, Andy pays David for his latest criminal job, and David admits that he's willing to do as many jobs as possible. David is unaware as Andy gives the nod to a lad nearby who has been watching the exchange. Todd spends the night with the guy he met at the recent singles event in the hotel and is surprised to see Julie at the hotel reception. Later in the week, Eileen persuades Julie to join her for lunch. Having discovered the real reason behind Julie's return, Todd and George urge her to tell Eileen the truth. After her ordeal during Rob's prison escape, Carla is discharged from hospital and returns home. When she's greeted by Ryan and Betsy, Carla is disappointed to realize that Lisa is nowhere to be seen. Coronation Street airs on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX. What's next on the Cobbles? A deep dive into upcoming Coronation Street drama. Coronation Street continues to deliver gripping storylines, with next week's episodes packed with emotional revelations, manipulative schemes, and life-altering decisions. From Daisy's long-awaited confession about her baby's paternity to Cassie's dangerous manipulation of Ken, and Dylan's uncertain future as he faces court, the drama on the Cobbles shows no signs of slowing down. Here's a detailed look at the 13 major moments to expect in the upcoming episodes.